Would you care to give our listeners a flavor of your work by reading a passage from
Well,
your epic?
I would love to do that. Thank you for asking me. I'm just going to say the context. I'll start with Canto 1, the ascent, because
Hmm.
if I read something dramatic later on, it's kind of not so much in context. So you need to understand that I have just escaped from one hell
Hmm.
ward from hell, but I've reached a blockage, and one of the great gods, Apollo, who in fact is really the cherubim Uriel, who, if you've read Paradise Lost, you will know is the god of the sun in Paradise Lost, which is why
Right.
he's Apollo in the Greek mythology. He arrives to help us break through the blockage that is preventing us from ascending into purgatory. And he creates 10 steps upwards by the power of his arrow. And as this is going on and these steps are appearing, the 10 steps that take us to the top of purgatory, which we have to climb, a remarkable healing scene is also happening and transforming Virgil. Now, Dante has accompanied me in hell, but now as we go to purgatory, Dante is accompanying me, but also Virgil is joining him. Only this time, unlike when he accompanied Dante in the Divine Comedy, and he was just a shade going upwards who then again down, he is now, for reasons which are given in the text, he has been surprisingly redeemed. And as he begins the ascent to the top of purgatory, his body is beginning to regenerate, like Eurydice's regenerated as Orpheus led her from hell, and she was almost fully formed as they reached the sunlight, and then he
Hmm.
looked back. So this is the kind of image that we're trying to get to. So a brief extract. But greater wonders still awaited yet, for Uriel's arrow had struck deeper far than anything I could imagine, guess. 10 cracks of rock produced, each their stone bar extruding, thus becoming level steps, that to the summit proved an even stair. Before us, only 1 cubit to leap, where we could leave behind profoundest hell, ascend and not look back at that dark deep. How Virgil studied his own hand, scanned well, noticing every tremor of his blood, pulsing with life and its resurgent swell. Such his surprise at being done such good, in fascination stayed, as cobras do when punji players sway and fix their mood. Oblivious to our nearby rescue, so Virgil studied his reforming arm. I shouted, Lord, step up, we're nearly through. Though one past death might scarcely notice harm, suddenly Virgil acted with mastery. He too had life, and with it, life's alarm. Grabbing my collar, his first thought for me, he whisked us up in one instant ascension where, standing upright ahead, we could see. What seemed a step was one massive extension, domain where frail spirits worked out their work to find the truth beyond failed earthly visions. I stood amazed. I'd surfaced like a cork, and as I did, I gulped the air, relieved to be beyond the sufferings of the dark.
In great company there with Virgil. Like how he acts very decisively there. Virgil and Dante guiding you, two greats. I like what Glenn Young said. He noted about the how it's really Dante a lot of the time who's kind of helping you guys along, who's the superior spiritual authority when
Yes,
you and Virgil are kind of cowering in fear.
yes. It was a very perceptive observation. And the thing about it is he has to be, because one, he's actually in heaven, come from heaven, whereas Virgil has never been there yet.
Mm,
And two, because of course, in my opinion, he is the greater poet. In fact,
mhm,
I regard the Divine Comedy as probably, I mean, I regard Shakespeare as the equal to Dante,
mm,
but in terms of one single poem,
mhm.
the Divine Comedy is probably the greatest poem that we
Ever
know of
written.
that's
Yeah,
written.
right. Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. You could say, Shakespeare's collected works are maybe
Yeah, yeah.
at the top. But yeah, as far as one single work, it is, Dante's. It's so original. Nothing really came before it.
Yes.
Reading Virgil is a lot like reading Homer, but Dante totally original. Yes, great model for you to aspire to.
Well, he's a great model for everyone who wants to go down
Mhm.
that line. This is the thing about the classics, Shakespeare, Dante, Milton. There they are for all. My son was Joseph Sale has really been inspired in his great poem Virtue's End with Spenser's epic The Faerie Queen, and it is an astonishing continuation of the poem. These great models are there, and if we just keep thinking we're going to invent our own new stuff all the time, I mean, it's so thin, as I say, it's so paltry. We want to use these models to
Mm.
create real poetry.
Well, it's very arrogant to think that you could do it better than they could.